There's been a lot of talk from us roller coaster nerds about B&M, that's Bolliger and Mabillard. It's a Swiss roller coaster firm known for their rides like Fury 325 at Carowinds, Flying Dinosaur at Universal Studios Japan, and Nemesis Reborn at Alton Towers. B&M, for seemingly ever, has been synonymous with quality. Their rides are efficient, well designed, and most notably, smooth. Well, they were smooth. There's been a recent general feeling that B&M's roller coasters aren't as high quality as they used to be. The new ones have strange quirks. They jolt, shake, and rattle. I think this video of the new for 2025 Rap Terror at King's Dominion sums it up quite well. Yeah, it doesn't look the best, does it? Roller coaster nerds are quick to complain about anything and everything. Are we all just making a fuss about nothing, or is something happening? Are B&M, these titans of the amusement industry, actually going downhill? Or is it just a small blip on a near-perfect track record? Look, we've already heard the problem. B&M's roller coasters aren't as smooth as they were a few years ago. Roller coaster nerds have always complained of the B&M rattle. However, it seems to have become more exaggerated and obvious on their rides built after 2021. Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger, Mandrill Mayhem, Pipeline the Surf Coaster, Iron Menace, Penguin Trek, Phoenix Rising, and Nemesis Reborn. On all of these rides, people have complained about the train shaking more than on comparable B&M roller coasters. It's a general sense of discomfort not previously felt on the company's older attractions. Now, I have experienced this myself. Mandrill Mayhem at Chessington World of Adventures, a B&M wing coaster, certainly bounces along the track more than the much larger B&M wing coaster a few miles down the road, the Swarm at Thorpe Park. I'd also agree that Iron Menace at Dorney Park shuffles along the track much more than its other B&M dive coaster counterparts, like Valkyria at Liseberg. Does it make the ride experience unbearable? God no. In most cases, I believe the average person wouldn't notice a difference. However, it does exist. There's a change, a shake uncharacteristic of older B&M rides. So, what's going on here? What changed? Let me be very clear. I do not have an engineering background or an engineering degree, though a physics degree isn't far off. Nor am I a well-connected figure within the amusement industry with access to insider knowledge from questionable sources. I'm just a random guy on the internet. Others with much better credentials than myself have speculated about what's going on. Most of the discussions center around changes being made to B&M trains. B&M, like many roller coaster manufacturers, don't make everything themselves. They buy parts from other companies which are combined to create their ride vehicles. Some have theorized that one of the companies that supply parts to B&M has changed their manufacturing process. In the manufacturing world, there's the concept of tolerance. That's how far one dimension of a manufactured product is from its designed specification. For roller coasters, we're often talking about size in millimeters, tiny. B&M rides are smooth because the tolerance of their parts is small. Parts fit together well, practically as designed. However, small tolerances are expensive. The theory goes that one of B&M's supply companies has increased the tolerance, simultaneously reducing the quality of the part while also making it cheaper to produce. Others have suggested that theme parks themselves are the catalyst behind this change. Another theory goes that theme parks have asked B&M to reduce the cost of their trains. Ride vehicles are expensive, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Theme parks may want B&M to reduce their prices to make the rides more affordable. In both theories, the general sentiment is that something has changed with the vehicle's wheel assemblies, the part that holds the train onto the track. You can imagine that a higher tolerance here could lead to more vibrations across the whole vehicle as it navigates the track. The idea that B&M would want to make their rides cheaper is plausible. The cost of everything has risen over the past few years. After the start of the 2020 pandemic, the price of steel skyrocketed. It practically doubled in just over a year. Over the past 5 years, the cost of goods and services in the US has increased by close to 25%. Things are more expensive now. On top of that, the pandemic hit theme parks hard. Many weren't able to operate as normal, often reducing capacity or closing altogether for long periods of time. This led to a reduction in visitor numbers, less income, and therefore less money for future investments. It's safe to say that theme parks have been feeling the economic pinch too. While steel prices have begun to return to pre-pandemic levels, this wouldn't have yet trickled through to the cost of theme parks' most recent investments. Furthermore, the world is far from a stable place right now. Conflict, economic turbulence, and general chaos leave the future uncertain. Yikes, man, that's a bit deep for a video about roller coasters. What I'm trying to say is that B&M has always been seen as the more expensive option. Quality products come at a cost. That cost is now simply higher than ever before. Perhaps it's not unreasonable that theme parks looking to install B&M coasters would ask the company to reduce costs, or that even B&M themselves have made cuts on quality to reduce costs and attract more customers. B&M is a quality over quantity company. Historically, they've built only a handful of new additions each year. The vast majority of these were larger thrill coasters too. Between 2014 and 2024, B&M built 43 roller coasters. Of those 43, 9 were built in Europe, 15 in North America, and 19 in Asia. Until 2020, the vast majority of these B&M additions were built in Asia, thanks to a booming theme park market. Since 2020, this demand has slowed. However, there's been a short-term increase in B&M rides being built in North America. This is especially true of 2024. But what about 2025? 3 new B&M rides are scheduled to open: Big Bad Wolf at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, Rapterra at King's Dominion, and Wrath of Raksasha at Six Flags Great America. The number of roller coasters being built by B&M has begun to increase. Interestingly, this has been partially driven by the company's expansion of family offerings, which until very recently was surprisingly limited. In 2023, B&M built 2 family-based wing coasters in Europe, Mandrill Mayhem and Maximus. This was followed by a further 2 family coasters built in North America in 2024, Penguin Trek and Phoenix Rising. This number is set to grow further in 2025 with the introduction of 3 family coasters across North America and China, including Big Bad Wolf. Family coasters have been driving B&M sales upwards. The company's original family coaster, the Family Suspended model, isn't exactly new either. They've been part of B&M's ride portfolio since 2014. So, why now? The family coaster market is already saturated with plenty of offerings. So what's changed? Perhaps B&M has made their rides more appealing. Theme parks can now get the B&M quality and reliability at a reduced cost for a slightly less smooth ride experience. Perhaps a reasonable trade-off for some. Smoothness is a relative term. B&M's own smoothness has declined recently, but how does it compare against other manufacturers? Well, in 2024, other major manufacturers weren't perfect either. The brand new Hyperia at Thorpe Park gained mixed reviews for its smoothness. One of the 2 trains was known to shake quite heavily in the ride's valleys. I've experienced that myself. This is a roller coaster built by Mack Rides we're talking about, another manufacturer known for quality. One of Mack Ride's other new roller coasters, Voltron at Europa Park, also gained mixed reviews for its smoothness. Many claimed it gave a pretty rough ride experience on some of the ride vehicles, especially in the outer 2 seats of the train. Hold on to those words, outer seats. Now, let's go back to that clip of Rapterra. Each row of the train seems to be bouncing up and down as it speeds along. Perhaps more importantly, the track isn't even straight, it's all kinked. Well, roller coaster track is never perfectly straight, it'll be bent and warped slightly due to temperature changes. Take a look at this clip of a non-B&M roller coaster. You'll see a very similar effect, just on a smaller scale. The scale and magnitude of the effect is directly related to the position of the riders. The further away from the track you sit, the more vibrations and shaking you'll feel. The physics of moments amplifies any imperfection. A perfect example of this in action is on X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain. The ride experience is slightly shaky in the inside seats, but somewhat painful in the outside seats. So the effect in this video is exaggerated due to the train's design? And what? Well, how many other major roller coaster manufacturers build similar wing coasters? 0. Others have tried and failed. B&M succeeded. B&M are not only the sole producer of wing coasters, but they also manufacture the vast majority of major roller coasters with wide train designs. Can you think of any non-B&M roller coasters with 7 across, 8 across, or even 10 across rider formations? Nope, neither can I. Even the classic 4 across rider formation on thrill coasters has become more rare outside of B&M. Intamin last produced one in 2018 with Hyperion at Energylandia, a ride known for its rattle. While Mack Rides have only recently begun to build 4 across rides, of which their latest, Voltron, has mixed reviews for its smoothness. It's a very similar story for Vekoma, RMC, and many other roller coaster manufacturers too. 2 across trains continue to be the dominant vehicle type for roller coasters. We're therefore not really comparing like for like. It's perhaps no surprise that Iron Menace or even Rapterra would not be as smooth as the alternative 2 across ride. The fact that B&M are practically the only major manufacturer to consistently provide wide ride vehicles is a vote of confidence in their company from theme parks and an indicator of the difficulty in producing perfectly smooth rides. Look, I'm aware that B&M's recent 2 across models, such as Penguin Trek and Phoenix Rising, aren't known for their smoothness either. Perhaps, however, that's a result of B&M finding their feet in an already mature family roller coaster market. The conclusion is clear. Despite these changes, B&M are succeeding. In 2025, they'll install 6 new roller coasters. That's a number not seen for the last 7 years. The pandemic and the continued global uncertainty have caused changes to the amusement industry. B&M may simply be adapting to the new normal to remain competitive at the cost of a reduction in quality. Will that trade pay off? Only time will tell. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you all next time.